This evening, first, the government denies involvement. Attorney General Anand Nandlal sets the record straight, dismissing claims that Guyana played a role in the U.S. arrest of outspoken social media activist Melissa Atwell-Holder, known as Melly Mel. Plus, a heartbreaking tragedy on the Essequibo Coast. Police investigate the death of a 3-year-old girl after a heavy metal gate crushed her while playing outside her home. Also, no delays, no excuses. President Irfaan Ali lays down the law, insisting the new Demerara Harbour Bridge must be completed by August 31st. We'll tell you what steps are being taken to fast-track the massive project. Meanwhile, health alert. A suspected outbreak of hand, foot, and mouth disease affects students in Region 4. The Ministry of Health is now stepping in to contain the spread. Finally, Beijing pushes back. China launches a probe into the multi-billion-dollar sale of Hong Kong-based CK Hutchison to U.S. investment firm BlackRock, raising tensions over strategic ports in Panama Canal. Stay tuned, these stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for March 20th, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Anand Nandlal has clarified that the government of Guyana had no involvement in the recent arrest of social media activist Melissa Atwell-Holder, known as Melly Mel, in the United States. Speaking on his weekly program, Issues in the News, Nandlal explained that Atwell's detention is reportedly linked to immigration violations and was carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE.
The investigating agency and the arresting agency was and is the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Those of you who live in America and those of you who are au fait with what ICE is, it's an organization, a law enforcement organization in the United States that investigates and enforces immigration laws and prosecute persons for immigration violations or violations of immigration law. That is what this person is being detained for. In the United States of America, by U.S. law enforcement agencies. Lo and behold, a grouping of persons in Guyana are protesting in Guyana, presumably based upon the utterance I'm hearing, protesting the government of Guyana and calling for the release of this person. For the avoidance of doubt, the government of Guyana did not arrest Melissa Atwell. The government of Guyana is not detaining Melissa Atwell. From all the information that is available, it is the U.S. government that has arrested and is detaining Melissa Atwell.
The Attorney General dismissed accusations that the government influenced her arrest due to her frequent criticism of the administration on social media. Protests have since erupted in Guyana and abroad, with some accusing the government of silencing Atwell. Nandlal also noted that the opposition had joined the protest and said they could not have been protesting the government of Guyana, but rather the government of the United States.
Well, I want to make it very clear. It cannot be that they are protesting the government of Guyana. They have to be protesting the government of the United States of America. It is no secret that President Donald Trump campaigned on an immigration policy. It is no secret that since his inauguration, he has vigorously launched a campaign to enforce the immigration laws in the United States of America, targeting specifically persons who are in the United States in violation of the immigration laws.
Nandlal stressed that Atwell had been free to express her views for years, and her arrest is solely a matter of U.S. immigration law. He also confirmed filing a libel lawsuit against Atwell, but insisted that legal actions was never meant to stifle her freedom of expression.
How is this a freedom of expression issue? This lady was allowed to express her opinion freely. For years, I will deal with what she said about people. But no one during that period attempted to interfere with her right to express herself. And there is no evidence that anyone can point to. I sued her for libel. And hopefully at some point in time, she will appear in the case. Because the case will go on, with or without her. Many other persons have sued her for libel as well. But those lawsuits were never intended to interfere with her right to free speech. If she believes that free speech includes libel, well, then the court will determine that.
Meanwhile, Vice President Bart Jagdeo also weighed in, stating that the government is not concerned about the matter as it falls under U.S. jurisdiction. U.S. Homeland Security reportedly detained Atwell on March 13th, and she is currently cooperating with the authorities. She will have her immigration case reviewed by the U.S. immigration judge on March 28, 2025. The hearing, initially set for June, has been moved up and will be held virtually before Judge Francis Mwaji. In other news, police in Regional Division 2, Pomeroon, Supanam, are investigating the tragic death of 3-year-old Alea Etwaru, who was fatally injured after a metal gate fell on her at her family's home on the Essequibo Coast. The heartbreaking incident occurred on Wednesday, March 19, at Exmouth, Essequibo Coast. According to reports from the police, Alea and her 4-year-old sister were playing in the yard when their mother heard a loud noise. Upon rushing to the scene, she found her young daughter pinned beneath the heavy metal gate. The child was bleeding from a head wound and was immediately rushed to the Charity Public Hospital. Tragically, she was pronounced dead on arrival. Police confirmed the gate, measuring 10 feet in length and 6 feet in height, was found on the ground with bloodstains nearby. Investigations are ongoing. This tragedy comes just 2 months after a similar incident claimed the life of 7-year-old Karina Prasad in Corriverton, Berbice. In that case, Karina was fatally struck by a 250-pound iron gate at the Taj Mahal Hotel and Bar, where she lived with her aunt. She too was pronounced dead on arrival at the Skeldon Public Hospital. Authorities urge property owners to ensure that heavy gates and structures are properly secured to prevent further tragedies. Moving on, health officials are probing a suspected outbreak of hand, foot, and mouth disease at a Region 4 primary school. Ruth Pendleton reports on the Ministry of Health's ongoing investigation.
The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with regional authorities, is investigating a suspected outbreak of hand, foot, and mouth disease, HFMD, in Region 4, Demerara Harbour. The disease, which primarily affects young children, is highly contagious but typically not severe. The suspected outbreak has reportedly been affecting students at the Monrepo Primary School for the past 3 weeks. An expert team from the ministry visited the region on March 11th to assess the situation, with a follow-up visit conducted on March 18th. Samples have been collected and sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPA, for confirmation of the pathogen. Hand, foot, and mouth disease is characterized by symptoms such as fever, sore throat, painful mouth sores or blisters, and a rash on the hands, feet, and sometimes the buttocks. Symptoms typically appear within 2 to 7 days after exposure to the virus through infected bodily secretions or contaminated objects and surfaces. While most cases of hand, foot, and mouth disease are mild and resolve within 7 to 10 days, medical treatment focuses on relieving pain and fever and preventing dehydration. The Ministry of Health has issued a set of precautionary measures to reduce the risk of spreading the disease. Regular hand washing with soap and water, avoiding close contact with symptomatic individuals, sanitizing and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces and shared items. Parents are advised to keep children home if they show symptoms of hand, foot, and mouth disease and seek medical attention at the nearest health facility if symptoms persist beyond a week. The ministry encourages continued vigilance and will provide updates as more information becomes available. Reporting for the Headline News, I am Ruth Pendleton.
Thanks, Ruth. Stick around when we return. Monrepo man jailed for cyber extortion, and government launches major school expansion projects in Georgetown and Berbice.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. This project is not being extended one day beyond the timeline. Those were the words echoed by President Dr. Mohammed Irfaan Ali as he reiterated that the August 31st, 2025 completion date for the new Demerara Harbour Bridge must be met. To fast-track the completion of the new Harbour Bridge, China Railway Construction International Company is deploying 200 additional skilled workers, including engineers, to the project. During a site visit on Tuesday, President Ali was updated on the progress and emphasized the urgency of completing the bridge's main span. He also directed the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority to speed up drainage approvals. Crucial steel cables for the bridge are expected to arrive by May, with the project on track for its August 31st completion date. President Ali stressed that no extension would be granted, urging workers to maintain a strong work ethic. The US $260 million bridge, stretching 2.65 km, will be South America's first high-span, four-lane fixed structure. It will significantly ease traffic congestions between regions 3 and 4, boost economic activity, and accommodate vehicles of all sizes. The project, designed for a 100-year lifespan, will also feature a bicycle lane and eliminate bridge closures for vehicular traffic. The new Demerara Harbour Bridge will connect Nandi Park on the east bank of Demerara to Lagrange on the west bank. President Ali has urged China Railway Construction International Limited and Supervisory Firm Polytechnica to collaborate effectively to ensure a timely delivery. The Ministry of Education has launched 2 major school expansion projects in Georgetown and Berbice. Ruth Pendleton reports on the government's efforts to modernize Ghana's education system.
The Ministry of Education has embarked on 2 major school expansion projects aimed at improving educational facilities and strengthening human capital across Guyana. On Tuesday, Education Minister Priyamanik Chan officially turned the sod for the expansion of St. Stanislaus College in Georgetown. The project, funded by the World Bank under the Guyana Strengthening Human Capital through Education Initiative, will see the construction of 2 new buildings. Minister Manik Chan emphasized the government's commitment to creating modern learning environments and highlighted the recently launched Projects Map, an online tool that provides transparent updates on school construction projects nationwide. Just over a week earlier, the minister also turned the sod for a new wing at the J.C. Chandy Singh Secondary School in Berbice. This $200 million project will add a multi-purpose hall, smart classrooms, labs, and art rooms to the school. The expansion aims to further enhance the institution's strong academic reputation and meet growing demands. Board Chair Adrian Anamaya expressed hope that J.C. Chandy Singh will eventually offer the same quality of education and resources as Georgetown's national schools. The first building of the expanded St. Stanislaus College, valued at $275.5 million, will house a canteen, library, classrooms, and accessible washrooms. The second will include an allied arts room, food and nutrition laboratory, IT room, and additional classrooms. Construction is expected to be completed within 14 months. Reporting for the Headline News, I am Ruth Pendleton.
Thanks, Ruth. A Monrepo resident, Rup Nankishore Jr., also known as Nyron, has been sentenced to 2 years in prison after being found guilty of using a computer system to extort $1.5 million from Canal No. 1 resident Troy Prasad. Investigations revealed that between February 27th and March 11th of 2024, Nankishore contacted Prasad via Facebook Messenger and demanded that Prasad pay him the sum of $1,500,000 or that he would publish nude photographs and video of Prasad and his wife on Facebook. A report was made to the Cybercrime Unit of the Criminal Investigation Department headquartered. The unit conducted a sting operation, which resulted in Nankishore being caught and arrested. The Ghana Police Force urges the public, especially vulnerable individuals, to remain vigilant against online threats and extortion attempts. Persons encountering suspicious or threatening online activities are encouraged to report them immediately to the Cybercrime Unit. Online blackmail and extortion are serious crimes, and reporting such incidents can help protect others and bring perpetrators to justice. Don't go away after the break. EU boosts defense spending over fears of reduced U.S. military support, and Antigua and Barbuda denies U.S. travel ban rumors.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. In the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda officials have dismissed rumors of a U.S. travel ban, confirming no restrictions exist on travel between the two countries. The government clarified that nationals and U.S. residents still enjoy visa-free travel. This follows reports suggesting Antigua was among Caribbean nations facing possible U.S. travel restrictions. Authorities emphasized no such measures have been discussed with U.S. officials and reassured that American visitors remain welcome. Travelers are urged to verify updates via official sources. Meanwhile, in South America, an oil spill in northwestern Ecuador is spreading, contaminating water sources and endangering both wildlife and human health. Local communities fear long-term health consequences, while environmentalists warn of irreversible damage to the fragile ecosystem. Al Jazeera's Alexandria Rampieti reports.
A week after a landslide ruptured a key pipeline in Ecuador, workers are still struggling to contain a major oil spill in the northwestern region of Esmeraldas. The spill has contaminated at least 5 waterways, including the Esmeralda River that flows into the Pacific Ocean. Drinking water supplies have been cut off to more than 50,000 households in the area. Locals say it's seriously affecting people's health.
Children have been hit hard by the contamination, including a 3-month-old baby with a fever. Our community is experiencing an outbreak of illness.
The majority Afro-Colombian province of Esmeraldas is among the poorest and least developed regions in Ecuador. Most people here depend on fishing for their livelihoods.
The oil slick has reached our area of Camarones and continues spreading, reaching Rocafuerte. This is the damage we're facing. That's why the boats haven't been able to be used. As you can see, they're all stranded. They have not been able to go out to fish because the fishing gear is stained and there's no catch.
Ecuador's government has declared an environmental emergency, promising to quickly mobilize all the resources to contain the damage. State-owned oil company Petroecuador, which manages the damaged pipeline, is distributing potable water, but some residents are protesting, accusing the company of sending contaminated water in tankers previously used for fuel transport, making it unfit for drinking.
We are demanding water and they send us soldiers. Look, this is what they are sending us. This is the government that solves.
Petroecuador has declared force majeure on the pipeline and suspended the export of crude. The company hopes that invoking the clause will shield it from penalties and potential breaches of contractual obligations. The government's response to the environmental disaster could become a potential liability for President Daniel Noboa just weeks before a crucial presidential runoff. But for those along the Esmeraldas River, it's not just a political crisis, but a fight for survival. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera.
China is investigating the multi-billion-dollar sale of Hong Kong-based CK Hutchison to U.S. investment giant BlackRock. The company operates 2 major ports at either end of the Panama Canal, and the deal has sparked outrage in Beijing. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Panama has long been a magnet for people of all races and colors. But even before the building of the Panama Canal, thousands came all the way from China to build the country's railroad. 170 years later, the Chinese community has grown in numbers and influence. Mayor Eloy Chong is receiving donations for school children. He arrived from Canton when he was 9 years old and is now Panama's first Chinese-born mayor, elected in Chorrera, where roughly 7% of the population is of Chinese descent.
The important thing is that one feels like a Panamanian and feels proud of being Panamanian.
The most obvious Chinese influence here is in the small business sector, such as restaurants and small supermarkets. But there's also the high profile of China's diplomats in Panama, which is seen as a base for expanding Beijing's influence in Central America and the Caribbean.
And that's put Panama at the center of a feud between China and the United States. In a tense visit to Panama last month, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio insisted that two Chinese-run ports on either side of the Panama Canal posed a threat to U.S. strategic security, while President Donald Trump threatened to reclaim the waterway. Now, a major Hong Kong-based conglomerate, CK Hutchison, which operates the canal ports, has sold its shares to an American consortium, infuriating the Communist Party. Beijing is accusing the company of caving into U.S. pressure and betraying China's interests. On Tuesday, Hong Kong's hardline chief executive officer suggested it may not approve the $22 billion deal.
We oppose the abusive use of coercion or bullying tactics in international economic and trade relations.
8 years ago, Panama cut historic ties with Taiwan and recognized the People's Republic of China. Its example was followed by the Dominican Republic and the rest of Central America. Since then, Chinese firms have been awarded multi-million-dollar infrastructure contracts, including a metro that will go under the Panama Canal and a new bridge over the canal.
Ties with China have brought a lot of investment to Panama. Isn't that what we want? More investment in Panama?
Not if it comes from China, says the U.S. government, which has openly expressed concern about China's mounting economic expansion in Latin America. It's a concern shared by many in the region. But the only antidote, they argue, is for the competition, the United States, to put its money where its mouth is. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Panama City, Panama.
Finally, the European Union is increasing its defense spending as concerns grow over the possibility of the United States reducing its military presence in Europe. EU officials warned that such a move could leave the bloc more vulnerable amid rising global tensions. Al Jazeera's Hashim Habara reports.
War in Ukraine shows no signs of ending. The US is pushing for a truce, but here in Europe, many remain skeptical. EU leaders fear the US may be rushing a deal that could allow the Russian president to expand his influence across the continent.
Russia's economy is in a full war mode. 40% of the federal budget on the military is more than Russia spends on education, healthcare and social policies combined.
The EU is working to finalize its white paper, a roadmap to mobilize more than $800 billion over the next 4 years to prepare themselves against any Russian attack.
Putin will not be deterred if we shall read the white paper to him. He will be deterred if we shall turn the white paper into action, and if we shall use it to build very real drones, tanks, artillery for our defense.
Steel is a key component of the arms industry, and the EU wants to ensure it has enough stockpiled as manufacturers are under pressure to churn out missiles, drones, artillery and ammunition.
Rising energy costs are our top priority. We should protect our steel plants from unfair competition. Europe must now become a leader in the steel industry.
But that may not be enough to protect the steel industry. As the tariff war intensifies, many think China could end up diverting its US exports towards Europe. The Europeans say they will increase tariffs on steel imports to protect the local market.
Europe's biggest fear
is being caught off guard with a major military threat from Russia, and for that it wants to control its defense, manufacture its own weapons and coordinate the best response strategy, a major shift for the EU, which thought wars at home were a thing of the past. Hashim Ahbar, Al Jazeera, Brussels.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it with 2 headline news for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.